Hey everybody, whoever's here, I am so sorry I'm late. I can't seem to I don't know if this is working. Please let me know if you're here and if it's working. I need to know. Please have people here. So the people that were here waiting for a good 16 minutes, I'm so sorry, was Gina, Kitty, Witty, and Anne. I'm so sorry. Please let me know if you can hear me because yeah, I'm really late. But like I said, for some reason my StreamYard wouldn't allow me to enter and all that. It was saying even though I tried to activate my what do you call it? My camera and my microphone, it just wouldn't seem to want to let me in. It was saying it was blocked and all this sort of shit. So if you know anybody who wishes to listen to this upcoming live of mine or anything like that, please let them know that I am now here. Anyway, I haven't been live for a while because I haven't really felt it. But today I'm going to be talking about, as we all see by the title, we're going to be talking, well, I'm going to be, and whoever joins me on panel and wishes to join me on panel, we're going to be talking about JonBenet Ramsey. Now, for those who have been a subscriber of my channel for a while, I have discussed her on a few occasions, and I've said that I'll do this with somebody or something along those lines. It comes down to that, yeah, I decided not to go do collaborating with somebody because at the end of the day, if people wish to collaborate with me at any given time, they can contact me instead of me basically doing the collaborate with me. None of that shit. So, long story short, for those who have forgotten who I am, hi, my name is Tammy. I live in Australia. I do like to discuss true crime on occasion. I do like to discuss other things, like in general things. Like I hardly discuss crime anymore. My channel used to be known as True Crime Discussions with Tabby, but I found myself not really necessarily discussing crime, and people would let me know that they're not interested in going on to a crime channel and then just listening to me rant and rave about pointless crap, basically. And in my last live, I was not under any circumstances, just so everybody out there knows, it was pointed out to me. And even though the person that did it no longer wants pretty much anything to do with me, I appreciate the fact that they pointed out a few things. Now, in my last live that I did nearly 2 months ago, I was discussing, I'll get into the JonBenet set stuff in a sec, guys, so don't stress. I will be discussing that, but I just want to wait for a few more people to realise that I am now live, so come into my live and all that kind of stuff. Please let me know if you can hear me when you come into my chat. I would appreciate it. But I did bring up something last time I went live, and it wasn't to try and beg or plead or anything like that. Hey, Kitty Witty. Good to see you, Dale. I'm so sorry I'm late. I was basically just trying to point out how the quantity and quality in things over the years since I was a kid. I'm 42 years old. I don't like to admit that, but I am. My mum loves to remind me though, so thanks, Mum. My point being is the fact that I was just pointing out the quality and quantity in things over the years since I was a kid have gone downhill, and the prices have gone up. And that's all I was trying to point out. Like I was saying about how a simple sports bra these days costs like $15 for just one, and the quality has gone downhill really badly. Like you get that really thin lycra, not the good quality lycra, but the real thin, flimsy kind of lycra. And when I was a kid, you used to get the sports bra and the pair of underwear together as a set for like $10. And now it's like $15 and you don't even get a bra, like sports bra that's good, and you have to pay for the underwear separate. That's all I was trying to point out. So I think it's amazing. I understand, life is hard for everybody. I understand that and I respect that. I still, under no circumstances, will stop putting my PayPal link in the description because that is something that is just become like second nature for me to do. It's up to you whether you donate. It's not up to me to put pressure on you to donate. But remember, Christmas is coming up, guys. So, and that means for Australia, summer's coming up. I've got a fan at the moment that I paid a small little fortune for that doesn't even do anything. It's supposed to be a velocity fan and it doesn't do anything. It's shit. So, yeah. Anyway, on with the show, I say. I've got to make sure that I have all my, as my mum said, have you got notes? I don't need notes, but because I haven't done a true crime such as this in a very long time, so to speak, I want to do it justice. So please, everyone, be patient with me. I will be reading from Google quite a little bit, so just to make sure I get my facts right. But like I said, today we're going to be discussing JonBenet Ramsey. Now, I actually don't know where to start. I will start by, I'll find something that I can read. Just give me one sec, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, mice and rats. Remember me saying that, guys? It's not me being disrespectful. It is just me pointing out that people out there, just give me 1 second. Should have done this all beforehand, but I was trying to get into the StreamYard studio. Okay, here we go. Oh, geez, why won't things just stay opened? Wow, okay, that's not what I was looking for. It's amazing what you can find. Oh, man. Sorry, guys. Keep talking about yourselves in chat. Should have done this last night, but I didn't. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. Now, there you go. I didn't need to actually do that. I could have just done this on my phone. That's annoying. All right, guys. JonBenet Ramsey was born on August 6th, 1960. Time of this is all through that meter L thing you can get on your messenger. Now here we go. This is something, like I said, she was born on August 6th, 1990 at 7:59 p.m. Place of birth was Northside Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. She would later be buried there, by the way. Her birth weight was 6 pounds and 12 ounces. Her length was 12 inches. All right, so that's a little bit of information there. What? What's wrong, Kitty Witty? Should I hold on a bit longer? What's going on? Kitty, are you all right? Like I said, JonBenet was born on the, what's going on? Let me know if you can hear me, guys, because if you can't hear me, then we're in all sorts of trouble with this channel. Oh, shit. Sorry. Did I? No. JonBenet Ramsey, born August 6th, 1990 at 7:59 p.m. Northside Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. Weighed 6 pounds 12 ounces, and her length was 20 inches. Thank you for pointing out my error. I appreciate that. Yeah, so she was born in 1990 on the 6th of August. And she went on to be, let's see what else I can read. I did a lot of my own research, guys, so don't think I didn't. I did. And as you all know, you all value my personal opinion, and we'll get to that. Oh, no, who knows? Today might be just a two-parter. So, JonBenet Ramsey went on to be a beauty pageant contestant. I am not, okay, this is where I actually get really upset. It's because, yes, she won a lot of beauty pageants. Excuse me. And she was considered a beauty queen. I'm going to call her a beauty princess because of the fact that I just do, because she was very small, very young. And yes, so that's that. Now, hang on. Sorry, guys. Okay, JonBenet Ramsey won a total of 17 beauty pageants titles during her short career. Now, you got to remember, she wasn't in it for very long, but she won 17, guys. And those major titles was the National Tiny Miss Beauty in 1995, American Royale Tiny Miss in 1996, Little Miss Colorado in 1995, Little Miss Rocky Mountain in 1995, Colorado State All-Star 1996. Other notable titles are Tiny Little Miss Colorado in 94. So she was only 4 years old. So you got to look at it this way, guys. Her mum started putting her in pageants when she was 4 years old. Okay, because don't forget, she was born in 1990. So her mum started, like I said, her mum started putting her in pageants at 4 years old. Now, I've got nothing against anyone who can honestly, excuse me, honestly protect their child and everything like that. By all means, put your kid in a beauty pageant. I'm not saying don't do it. But with this day and age, if I had children, no fucking way would I be putting mine in them. Anyway, so Little Miss Suburbia, 19. Now, keep an eye on these next 2 years of date, all right? Because this actually makes me quite unhappy to know that in this particular year, she was put in 2. Because, Patsy couldn't just handle her daughter being in 1 that year. Oh, hell fucking no. At the age of 5 years old, she has, like over here in Australia, you start what we call primary school at the age of 5 at times. So you got to remember, JonBenet there was trying, I'll say kindergarten. She was going to kindergarten in 1995 and trying there to make friends and everything like that, as well as maybe being yanked out of kindergarten now and again to rehearse for the upcoming pageant that was coming up. Anyway, as I was saying, Little Miss Sunburst and Little Miss Mile High. Now, we all know what the Mile High Club represents, don't we, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, mice and rats? I always thought that the Mile High Club, in my head, always meant that you did something up in the air. You had relations with a significant other in the airplane bathroom, like airplane. And so, yeah, my concern there, like I said, is the fact that she's there in 2 pageants in 1 year. Anyway, going on. National Junior Miss Colorado in 1996. Amaria Code Sweetheart. Colorado, I think. No, American COED. So you work out what that spells. Sweetheart in 1996. Now, here's another one local and regional titles. This is where I get upset too. Boulder's Little Miss Beauty, 1995. Longmont's Little Miss Beauty, 1995. Loveland's Little Miss Beauty, 1995. So in that year, Patsy had her in 3. And in my opinion, that's disgusting. One's not bad enough, one's bad enough, but to put your daughter in 3, really putting her face out there for, child peace and just predators in general. It's disgusting. Anyway, I'm going to get out of that because for what it's worth, that actually just... Hello to all the people. Hey, Aussie True Crime. I was actually late today because I had difficulty getting into StreamYard. It was annoying. But like I said, in 1 year, Patsy had JonBenet in 3 separate pageants. Now, I'm sorry. Yes, you want your daughter to... you're saying your daughter absolutely loved doing them and all that sort of stuff. But why is it the year that JonBenet was... I hate YouTube's new rules. Was her life was taken from her. So I have to say that sort of shit instead of just saying the K word. You know what I mean? It's just annoying. Yeah, it's yours and my both, Aussie. But like I said, the year at a Christmas party, JonBenet was supposedly told a friend that when she goes, oh, show me, her friend was saying to JonBenet, show me your crowns, and instead of JonBenet going, yeah, sure, I'll show you my crowns, no worries, she turned to this little friend of hers and said, they're not my crowns, they're my mum's. Now, for what it's worth, my mum and I, hey, mum, if you're listening, we didn't get along at the best of times, but when I had an achievement, my mother actually at least allowed me to have that achievement, you know what I mean? And let me, if I won a trophy, which I never did, which is fine. I never won a trophy. The story is, though, that is really quite funny about that, is that Patsy could never let JonBenet, by the sounds of things, have her own achievements and the benefits of those achievements and have them for herself. Because when I hear that JonBenet turned around and said that, hey, Aussie True Crime, did you want to come up here with me? Hang on. Just give me 1 sec, guys. I'm only putting this in there so that way if people want to come up and give their opinions while I'm doing this, and I would love it if Aussie True Crime had time. If she doesn't, it's fine. I'm posting it anyway. But just know if there's anyone that wants to come up here and join me, you are more than welcome to. But like I said, how sad is that? Like I said, that JonBenet... Oh, okay, no worries, Aussie, but the link's there if anyone does want to join me on panel and talk about this more. It comes down to, like I said, it sounds like JonBenet couldn't have an achievement unless she actually had to share. Obviously her mum would take her to all these pageants and all that sort of stuff. There's no denying that, but it comes down to that it was JonBenet who was the one that was doing all the performing and all of that sort of stuff and all that kind of crap. And there's footage out there if you care to try and go seek it. That Patsy's was in pageants too, and apparently so was her mum. But the thing is, though, is that when you see the footage of Patsy in pageants, she looks like she can actually, how can I put it, apply her own makeup age. You know what I mean? Like she looked like she was at least 16. And in the meantime, there's footage of JonBenet, more than half that age, because she never made it to 7 or 8. So, yeah, more than half that age of wherever Patsy was, doing pageants and parading around wearing makeup, parading around wearing... Some of JonBenet's outfits were absolutely beautiful. Like there was this one outfit she wore that she had this black and white looking dress. It was absolutely beautiful. And what would happen is that she would unhook it or unclip it, right? And then she would have that like fling over her shoulder sort of thing. So I absolutely loved that. But the thing is, though, I did not love that on a small child. I'm sorry. I don't have kids, so I'm probably, but yeah, there's a lot of things that I would see JonBenet where that I personally like. I understand having cameras in there because in case she put a foot wrong and foot in the wrong place according to the judges, but yet the crowd went mental and you actually had to prove that she put her left foot in when she was meant to put her right foot in, then by all means record that. Parents recording their children have to buy them and the money then goes to a charity or something. But the point being is I don't think anyone that was just like, say, the general public should never have been allowed to record those performances because you could be anybody. Back in 96, I don't think the police were hunting and looking for child touches and all that sort of stuff to say, oh, are you here for your child? And then we're going, yeah. And then, yeah. But anywho, moving on from that. I just think that the police, and FYI for those who don't know, this case still isn't solved. And JonBenet, hello Anne, how you doing, sweetheart? Welcome. I'm sorry I'm late. You're late too, though, so we're both fair. I'm kidding. I am late, but yeah, I was having StreamYard difficulty. Anyway, like I said, Burke was JonBenet's brother, one of his many brothers. She had two older adult brothers. When I say adult, I mean like in their 20s or something, and they were from John's previous marriage. He also, from memory, he also had two daughters. One tragically passed away in a car accident. I suspect foul play there myself, but it's only my word against what they say happened. Now, going forward a lot of years, when John divorced his first wife, he ended up marrying Patsy. Patsy actually worked for John for a while. And, they started, flirtation. I don't know if that when they were starting to more or less court each other, I don't know for 100% certainty if John was still married or not. I don't think he was. But if again, when I talk about this particular case, just remember these are my opinions because no one's joining me on panel. These are my opinions and my opinions alone. Please make sure you do your own research and form your own opinion because at the end of the day, these are my opinions. Do not feel as though that you have to take my opinion. I'll get to that in a sec, Anne. You read my mind, my darling. The thing is, though, like I said, I don't think anyone should take any opinion I have and then run with it. I have actually had people message me, one person, I'm not going to say who, a particular friend of mine messaged me last night and said that they absolutely loved my take on the JonBenet case, and this is why I'm back, because that one person actually, when I was starting to doubt if I should ever come back, that person gave me the confidence to actually come back and do this. So for that particular person, whether you're listening to this now or not, thank you. But like I said, it comes down to that, like I said, I don't know if John was married prior to his flirtation with Patsy that led to marriage, that led to Burke and JonBenet Ramsey, or his younger children. So I don't know that for sure. But they went on to get married, and then what happened is they moved to Boulder in the famous state Colorado. We all know what Colorado is more or less famous for, apart from the JonBenet case. We know it's famous for Save Robbie, and we know that it's famous for the Chris Watts case, but we're not going to discuss the Watts case at the moment because it's just people. Let me know in the comments after the live if you wish to hear more of me talk about Chris Watts, but personally, I don't want to talk about it. But if it's what my subscribers want, then hey, I'll be more than happy to do it. So let me know in the comment section down below. But remember, in the comments, please remember to please be polite to everybody everywhere. Do not show hate to anyone, because hate is a horrible thing. You know, you can show me hate. I honestly don't give two shits. But if someone puts a comment in any of my lives after the live and it's not something you agree with, guess what? Put your finger back and put it down by your side and walk away. Do not disrespect anybody. Yeah, you and me both, Kitty. Okay, now, anyway, there have been incidences where JonBenet would have incidences where she would wet the bed, sorry, I should be, and Patsy would get annoyed about it because, she had to be a mother and change the sheets, God forbid, and all that sort of stuff, and she'll get angry at JonBenet. Now, that's one occasion. There also was occasions where Burke occasion, singular, time where Burke actually hit JonBenet in the face with a golf club. Yes. And instead of just dealing with it, like taking her, getting her face stitched up and blah, 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 Patsy put her little girl through the procedure of plastic surgery because she didn't want her daughter to have any kind of imperfections, especially if she was going to continue putting her daughter through 2, 3, 4, 5, even maybe 6 pageants a year. She could have marks taken off because there was a scar. I don't know if that's true. I'm just guessing, because why else would she put her daughter through that? I've got a scar on my forehead. I've got a scar on the base of my spine. I've got a scar on my left thigh. And it's actually, when I think about it, yeah, it's all on the left side of my body. Woohoo! And yeah, that's fun. Anywho, moving on from that little bit about myself, my mum never put me through plastic surgery so that my scars wouldn't be seen. Mum, why didn't you do that? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But Patsy, because she wanted her daughter to be perfect, she allowed her daughter, well, not allowed, but she put her daughter through plastic surgery just so then scarring wouldn't show up and stuff on photos and all that. I think that's really quite sad. Hey, Jody. How you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. It's good to see my gang. A lot of you. It's good to see you. Thank you so much all for being here, and thank you for the people who stuck around while I wasn't live for 2 months. I really do appreciate the support and the ones that stuck around. So thank you for that. Anyway, I nearly said back to the Watts case then. That would have been embarrassing, wouldn't it? Back to the JonBenet case. Okay, now we're going to go forward quite a lot. And when I can actually sort out my stuff a bit more, I would actually come back and do a better live, so to speak. But right now, if I can find it, okay, who's been listening? Where was John? Where was John? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not a very good person if I did that, because that's mean. Yeah, she was she was only 6 years old, which is really quite sad. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me how the hell? Okay, first of all, okay. Oh, shit. Just give me a sec. Okay, I am going to now read the ransom. The ransom note. Okay. Now, when you're reading a letter to yourself, I'm going to point out my personal flaws after the letter, if it's all right. I'll read it first. Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We do not consider ourselves to be terrorists, but we are committed to our cause. We have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, but will remain in our custody until we receive the following: $118,000 in cash. Nope, this is the wrong letter. This is not the letter. Sorry, guys. Just give me 1 sec while I actually try and find the actual letter. This is not the letter. Just give me 1 sec while I try and find the actual. Okay. Here we go. I found the right one now. Mr. Ramsey, we are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed. And if you want her to see 1997, you must follow the instructions to the letter. You will withdraw 118,000 from your account. 100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you. Now you're, oh, fucking hell. Listen to this next bit very carefully, all right? I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be well rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money, and hence early delivery pickup of your daughter. Any division of my instructions will result in immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Just so you know that this next part is actually going to be quite disturbing, so please be patient with the whole letter's disturbing, but still the next little bit or next section is actually going to be quite bad. So trigger warning and spoiler alert. Sort of not spoiler alert, fucking hell. Yeah, just trigger warning to everybody with the next part. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, will result in your daughter being beheaded. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert a bank authority, she dies. If the money is any way marked or tampered with, she dies. And this is where, that part, I just wanted to let you all know that part I find very disturbing. And I go, you'll be scanned for electronic devices. If any are found, she dies. That part's also disturbing. You can try and deceive us, but be warned. We are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny, as well as the authorities. Don't try and grow a brain, John. You are not the only fat cat around. So don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that southern common sense of yours. Patsy was from the south. Sense of yours. It's up to you now, John. Victory. SBTC. Now, for me personally, I find that very, very, that letter, I wouldn't call it a ransom note. Oh, there you go, Jody. I did look at that. Yay, I did something good. Thank you, Jody. The thing is, though, is the fact that what happens is the fact that, okay, this is just from what I can remember. Okay, I actually haven't seen a blueprint or anything like that, so don't come at me if I'm wrong. Just accept the fact that I'm wrong and move on with your life with it. That's easy. Don't need to bully me for it. There were at least 2 or so staircases in that household of that house in Boulder, Colorado. There wasn't just one. There was at least 2 or more that led downstairs from being upstairs. If it was an intruder, how the hell would the intruder know that the stairs that they put that letter on, how did they know that they were the stairs that Patsy or John was going to go down that morning? Now, you got to remember, they went to bed about 9:30, 10 o'clock. All right. So the next day when they would have woken up, they would have seen that letter there on the 26th of December. All right. Remember that, 26th of December. Yeah, on JonBenet's grave, it says that she died on the 25th. Now, I'm sorry, I've said this on a previous live when I've talked about this. I personally, well, the letter, hang on, I'll see if I can find this particular part of information. Just give me one sec. I just want to make sure I'm doing good with this, okay? Now, the funny thing is with this, though, is the fact that what's happening is that when, sorry, give me one sec, guys. Okay. Now, this is going to be very interesting too. Whoopsies. The handwriting shows some similarities in John's handwriting, but experts disagree on matches. Burke Ramsey handwriting was also compared with with inconclusive results. But yet there's people saying that Patsy's handwriting matched, because you got to remember, this is something that I just recently found out, like when I say recent, it could be in the last 5 years. Patsy Ramsey herself was actually antidextrous. Now, I had no idea what that word meant. For those who don't, please don't think I was giggling at that, because I think it's funny that you don't. I didn't know. Antidextrous simply means you can write with both hands, or you can do things both left-handed and right-handed with like my dominant hand is my right hand. So that simply means that if you're antidextrous, you're dominant in both hands. So that's very interesting to know that. So now, the funny thing is, though, is the fact that in the letter it says, we'll call you between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Oh, sorry, But throughout the rest of the letter, they're explaining themselves as a small foreign faction. They're explaining themselves as a group of people. Okay. Well, then Spirit Time's very, very, very gifted. Lucky guy. My point being, okay, is as I was saying, is that what was I saying? Yeah, they said they've got a call between 10 a.m., 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. tomorrow. Now, the thing that's really scary about that, though, is the fact that they point out that that John and Patsy and everybody in the house just let the time go by and not even acknowledge that nobody had rang. The note said tomorrow. How was the intruder supposed to know? How was the intruder going to know that Patsy or John or even Burke, I don't know if Burke had access to those stairs, so bear with me. How did they know that Patsy or John wouldn't be racing around like a chook without a head that morning when they woke up and slip on that piece of paper and bang their heads against the stairs because they fell back? All right. They must have known that they were going to be leisurely. Obviously, they had their own plane, so they didn't have to, race around and get to the airport and all that kind of crap. So I can understand that. But the point I'm making is the fact that, excuse me, is that how did they know that John or Patsy or Burke, like I said, were going to use those particular stairs that morning? How is it that, according to police reports, that when JonBenet was still missing or shortly after she was found, cotton fibers were found on the inside of the tape that matched the red top that Patsy was wearing the night before as well as the next day. Was she wearing the same thing she was wearing the night before because of the fact that, the police weren't going to necessarily ask her to strip down and take off her clothes in front of them? So then that way they could take those clothes in for evidence? Hell fucking no. Patsy walked out with the proof of where those red fibers came from. And they didn't give them those clothes for like quite a long time. I think it was close to a year. And yet the police never pursued them for them, or they probably did, or they claim they did, and all that sort of stuff. So it's very, very, very bizarre. And so what happened is the fact that, like I said, cotton fibers that matched Patsy Ramsey's jumper were on the inside of the tape that was across JonBenet's mouth when found. I find that very bizarre. Linda Arndt had a feeling that it was John Ramsey that ended his daughter's life. I'm torn between all three of them, to be honest with you. Now, the thing is, though, is that there's a documentary that is available on YouTube. I might post it, I might not. Wow, no one really wants to come in and ever listen to my lives. I've only got three people in here. So thank you for those three that are in here. I really appreciate it. Thank you. But as I was saying, don't you find it odd? Like, put it this way, if I was like to go for a bike ride or something like that when I was a kid, I would always leave a note on my dad's bar because either way, my dad would see it, or when my mum would go and get his ice bucket and fill it up with ice and all that sort of shit, my mum would see it. So that's a common place that you have to go past it to actually leave the house, so to speak. Whereas with the Ramsey house, you could go down several flights of stairs to be able to get down to the kitchen area of the home. It wasn't just like there was one staircase and that was the only staircase that had access to downstairs, so for example, JonBenet had she lived up on the top floor. She could go down a certain amount of stairs and then she had to go down another flight of stairs to get to her brother's floor. And then hypothetically those ones like near her brother's core of his brother's floor or whatever had to go down another stairs to get to where their parents were, and then they all had to go down that particular one flight of stairs to be able to get to the kitchen. No, there was more than one lot of stairs that they could all access. And I just think it's really quite disturbing that, the intruder, as people think, chose that flight of stairs to put the note on. Or should I say, letter on. Now, apparently that John was trying to make arrangements still to leave for Atlanta that day, even though his daughter at the time was still missing. Now, the thing that's bizarre about that, though, is that Linda Arndt is saying, but yeah, I don't know. She said this, she probably thought to herself, but hang on a second, your daughter's missing and yet you're still making flight arrangements. I find the fact that I think this is in defense of John Ramsey for a moment, only a moment, because I don't trust that guy as far as I can throw him. He has said that. Oh, what was I saying? Sorry, I get so lost in thought most of the time, so I do apologize, guys. I think that he was on autopilot. Like he was just doing what he would normally do as if JonBenet was still alive, sort of thing. But yet, everyone is so critical by saying that nobody paid attention that 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock had come and gone, and nobody said anything. Because in the letter, now the ransom writer, obviously thought that they weren't going to come downstairs until the next morning. So technically, they would have been calling on the 27th, which would have been by the time they got the letter, which was on the 26th of December. Between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. tomorrow is the 27th. But the thing that strikes me as odd is that if John really did, in fact, read that letter in its entirety, thanks, Ozzy. If John Ramsey had actually read that letter in total, like completely, like I just did before, he would have seen that it said, we're going to call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow, which would have been, he would have been out of Colorado by then if he actually got the permission to actually leave the state. He was advised not to leave the state because in case they had any questions. It took John and Patsy Ramsey over a month or more, but they claimed they were cooperative with the police from the beginning. Okay, so I've got to do when JonBenet was found, she was found in the wine cellar of the basement. So they had like a games room and then another room and then another room. And JonBenet was found in the other room where she was covered with a blanket. Oh, okay. I don't know who Alan Jones is. I know of the name. No, that's Jodie. It's fine, sweetheart. I've got to actually look up who Alan Jones is. I know, like I said, I know the name. I just can't picture him at the moment, and I need to stay on track. Sorry, sweetie. Question you got to ask yourself: two things. Now, people go, oh, that if it was an intruder, the cobwebs would have been destroyed. Cobwebs can be spider webs. Yeah, yeah. Ozzy, if you get a chance to, can you send me a picture of this guy? Because I don't even know who he is. I know the name, but I just don't know the face. Clearly, because when you're on radio, you don't really broadcast your face like I'm kind of doing. But anyway, what the fuck? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Okay, that's what I was saying. Yeah, spider webs. No, in fact, that they can reform within half an hour. So when people turn around and say to you, yeah, I don't know who he is. I don't have a radio, so I don't listen to the radio. Anyway, moving on. What I'm saying is the fact that spider webs, they go, oh, if it was an intruder, the spider webs were intact. Now, you got to remember something that might sound really stupid, though, is the fact that if any of you have ever seen Charlotte's Web, okay, now when Charlotte's Web is destroyed by a fly or a hornet or whatever the hell it was, went through to the spider web and destroyed the first web that she created to try and save Wilbur's life, you actually see when she's getting little bits of the cobweb and she's actually then flinging it away, like she's getting rid of the damaged cobweb to create a new one. Now, spider webs from a general house spider and all that sort of stuff can, like I said, can be not us saying that those spider webs formed JonBenet's great in their cobwebs. I'm not assuming that. Just give me one sec, guys. All right, I'll look at that after. Thanks, Ozzy. The thing is, though, is that for that part there, that's why it's like, okay, well, the spider webs weren't damaged. They were still intact. They were new spider webs. They can form within half an hour. All right. So when people come out with that to say that's why it couldn't have been an intruder, it could well have been an intruder. I'm not saying it. Well, actually, I am. I don't believe it was an intruder. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. Yes, I think I know of that face. But I don't know that for sure, though. I could be so wrong. But what was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying now. Yeah, spiderwebs, there you go. It's just very strange how they want to say that it was and it couldn't have been an intruder because of that reason. Seriously, you're going to base the fact that an average house spider can reform a cobweb within half an hour to an hour or a couple of extra hours and all that sort of shit. You're going to base the fact that it couldn't have been an intruder because of that. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I personally don't believe it was an intruder for the following reasons. Okay. There was a guy, Fleet White, very good friends of John and Patsy, along with his wife, Priscilla. Good friends of the Ramseys. Very good friends, actually. I do believe that it was the White's house where Patsy, John, Burke, and JonBenet had their last Christmas dinner. Now, fast forward to now, from what I've heard, don't know if it's fact yet. I actually haven't done proper research on this part. John and Patsy were more than happy when the finger was getting pointed at them, as in themselves. They were more than happy to say, well, how do we know it wasn't Priscilla and Fleet White? Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, here's the thing, though, is the fact that you sent your son to their house the day JonBenet was unalived. Okay. So, long story short of things is what I'm getting at is the fact that you are prepared to send your son somewhere where you don't know what's happened to your other child at this point in time. You don't know if it was an intruder. You don't know who has them. You don't know if it was a friend, family, foe. You don't know. But yet you're sending your son to a friend's house. The police arrive and you can't wait to get Burke out of the house. Why? Why are you so eager to get Burke out of the house, John and Patsy? Because he might slip up? My theory is yes. Now, there's the case of JonBenet Ramsey that is available on YouTube, parts 1 and part 2. Now, you listen to a bunch of them sitting around a table, listening to the rescue 911 call. Unfortunately, I don't think I can play it because I don't know how to. So, I'm as helpful as anything, Excuse me. Oh, okay. I thought I had someone backstage, but I don't. I can't play that. But the thing is, though, there's a part where they're saying Patsy didn't hang up the phone properly. All right. Now you can hear you can hear Patsy saying, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And I don't hear that. I hear what are they hear. What did you do? And they're adamant. All of them. There's about 3 or 4 of them. They're all adamant that they hear, what did you do? I don't hear, what did you do? I hear, what are we going to do? Now, they also hear, what did you find? I don't hear, what did you find? I hear, I hit her from behind. Now, see, that's the thing, though, that when people can play mind tricks with so many different things, is the fact that if you hear one person saying something and you have like a lot of respect for that person, you're going to go with that narrative because you respect that person. You believe in your mindset that that person's never steered you wrong. So you're likely to believe them over what, say, like if someone comes up to me and goes, "What's your opinion on the sky is blue," and meanwhile it's overcast, cloudy, and like looks like it's going to rain today, kind of weather, right? The thing is, though, is that I don't believe for a second that it was what did you find, and I don't believe it was for what did you do. I don't hear either one of those things. See, I hear my hearing's not the best. I admit that, but I don't hear those two things. I hear something completely different. And when you think that you hear Patsy going, "Help me, Jesus, help me, Jesus," I don't believe she's saying that because she's praying for God, Jesus to help her. I think she's doing, "Help me, Jesus," because as she's cleaning up some of the mess from the unaliving of JonBenet, I would think, like when sometimes when you clean up a mess, you're like, "Oh, fucking God, help me," as you're cleaning up. You say that. Some people do, some people don't. But I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people that you look at the very big picture of it and you look at that and you go, "Okay, I'm sorry, Kitty, I love you to bits, honey, but I can't keep getting distracted from chat if it's not on topic. I'm sorry, but I can't." But like I was saying, if you're cleaning up a mess after somebody, you're like, "Oh, God, help me." Or you're telling off one of your grandkids or your children or something like that, and you go, God help me if you don't listen." You know what I mean? So when she's cleaning up probably a mess that was created from the unaliving of JonBenet, she's probably like, "Help me, Jesus." Like, that's probably what she's doing. I'm not saying that's fact. These are just what my theories are. Now, I do believe that there is a story out there where John and Burke Ramsey get interviewed by Dr. Phil. Okay, now there's a part of the segment where Burke Ramsey is getting interviewed. Now, I don't know about any of you, but it's actually quite. Okay, sorry, hang on. Oh, okay. Alana Jones got arrested back in 1988, and all those celebrities were supporting him, like her. Yeah, a lot. Now, as I was saying, sorry, I'm trying to make. Can you explain what you mean by that, Kitty? Now, the thing is, I'm confused about that makes me very angry is the fact that, fuck, I've lost my train of thought again, guys. Sorry, I've got to just try and stay focused just for a few seconds. Yeah, Dr. Phil was interviewing Burke. Now, Burke, for my personal opinion, was smiling too much. Now, my mum and I, we agree with one thing. Well, I was actually in shock to hear my mum say this because my mum's not the kind of person that if someone pisses her off, she's got to come out and say it. She goes, "Oh, they annoy me." Since the passing of her mum, if I get a swear word out of my mum, like even if she bumps into something, she goes, "Oh, bugger." She doesn't go, "Oh, shit." She doesn't even say the word shit. So I've got a lot to learn from her. My point being is that my mum cracks me up because she goes, "Oh, when he was smiling like he was, I just wanted to smash him in the face with a brick." And I'm there, and she goes, "I don't normally talk like that, but when he was smiling like he was, not shedding a single tear, yes, it's been 20 plus years since your sister died, but you'd think he'd show a little bit of emotion." And he showed none. I just wanted to smash him in the face with a brick. Now, I absolutely love my mum, but when she said that, I did laugh. I do admit I was laughing for quite a while. But the thing is, though, is the fact that Trace, if anyone who's ever seen this footage, I don't know how popular it is out there, but there's footage of Burke Ramsey leaving his sister's funeral, not dressed up in a suit, which, in my opinion, I would have advised my son to dress up in a suit. But he's wearing like a tracksuit top, you know, like my mum said, oh, what, we stopped him going for a run? I'm like, yes, mum, we did, yes. But the thing that I don't get, like, I understand that sometimes there can be a glare from when it's cold. I get that. There can be like an overcast kind of glare. But Patsy was seen wearing sunglasses. Now, there was a little girl who unfortunately was unalived a few years back from her mum and her stepdad. And I can't remember, I can't remember her name. I think I want to say her name started with A, but I can't be sure. But she was found somewhere, and her parents, or stepmom and her mum and stepdad, sorry, claimed that she had run away, and she lived in. She apparently lived in this big like block of flats, which some people call apartments. But long story short, though, is the fact that she was found, and the mum, that when you check out Criminals Crocodile Tears, and you see her, she goes, just bring me my daughter. Oh, that's how she sounds. She's like, oh my fucking God. And the thing is, though, that the reason that people here in the Australian public formed an opinion that she was weird is because she didn't take her sunglasses off. Right? But yet Patsy was wearing sunglasses to her daughter's funeral, that was held, I think, from memory, on the 30th of December, 1996. I don't know for sure if that is the date, so please, if anyone wants to correct me, now's the time. Now, I just think it's very, very sad that you can get a general public judging one person for wearing sunglasses in front of the cameras when her daughter is missing, but yet Patsy gets a pass for wearing sunglasses in the dead of winter, part of the pun, dead of winter, indoors, and I don't know if she wore them indoors, I don't know. There's not much actual inside footage of Patsy approaching the coffin. But like I said, there is a lot of situations in this case that will be talked about in more detail when I can actually do some proper research. But back to the Dr. Phil interview. The thing that sealed it for me to think that John Ramsey was responsible for excuse me for one sec. Just give me a sec, guys. Sorry. Yeah, so as I was saying, it comes down to so many different things. Like I said, you know, like how John Ramsey on that interview said, and I fucking quote, and I literally, I wanted to punch this guy in the face when he has said this, when he goes, this isn't a case of a child that's been murdered, though his words, not mine. This is not a case about this is not a, fuck. Try to remember exactly what he said, but more or less said, this isn't a case about a child that's been murdered. This is about an injustice that was done to me and my family. Now, when he had said that, I actually really, 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 really wanted to slap that bitch. Now, I'm not a violent person, and I don't have any strength in my hands whatsoever at the best of times. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that for him to say that, and he only said that to Dr. Phil, he had the audacity to say that and think in his own twisted, fucked up head that that was okay. No, John Ramsey, this is a case about a child that's been murdered. This is not necessarily a case about the injustice that was done to you and your family, because you and your family, you fucktard, are somehow responsible. Now, I'm sorry if I'm being a horrible person saying all this. I'm sorry if nobody likes me swearing like this. But at the end of the day, what kind of grown man, right, looks at this case and thinks, my baby girl was unalived by some monster out there. But hang on a sec, and they still haven't found this monster. But that's okay. It's okay. Because this isn't about my daughter's case. This isn't about my 6-year-old daughter possibly being SA'd and who knows what else done to her. Okay? Because this isn't about that. This is about me as a grown-ass adult being unjustifiably criticized and accused. Well, guess what? The Boulder police, as messed up as they are, they refused to indict you even when that jury requested it. They declared you fit to stand trial. They requested an indictment for you and Patsy to be arrested. But that guy with the moustache and the little fucking Monopoly guy glasses chose not to go through with that by saying they couldn't find significant evidence to form a proper opinion. Well, guess what? They wanted to indict them. You went against with what the jury wanted and didn't indict them. So I'm sorry to say this, John Ramsey. You might not have been treated very fairly in the beginning. That's a given. Because I hate to disappoint you, you fuckwit. Every single person out there who commits a crime, if they have children and they commit or they have a wife or a husband or I'd say the husband, wife, or children go missing, the first the first thing they look at is the significant other or one of the siblings. That's just common fucking sense, especially if you're all in the home at the same time. All right? You, John, Patsy, Burkham, JonBenet. They were the 4 people that went to bed that night, and only 3 got to wake up the next day and enjoy it. So, that sounds bad. Not enjoy it, but you know what I mean? Be alive the next day. JonBenet didn't. JonBenet didn't get to have a voice the next day. She didn't get to say anything. Patsy was so busy putting her little girl and your little girl into pageants that if it ended up being an intruder, how would the intruder even know where you lived? I'm pretty damn sure that when people dress up for those beauty pageants, I'm pretty sure that when they go, and contestant number 4 is Sheila Swank, and she lives at 4252 Mockingbird Street, Pennsylvania. Please welcome her to the stage. I'm pretty damn sure they don't do that. So that's also why I don't think it was an intruder, because how would the intruder, if it was someone that was stalking JonBenet from her pageants, how would he have known where she lived? It's not like they're printing out their addresses. I don't believe they did that. John Ramsey's bonus for that year, Christmas bonus, was $118,000. And you got to remember, they were multi-millionaires at the time of 96 rolled around. John Ramsey himself was a multi-millionaire. His business had just reached the milestone of $1 billion. I seriously doubt that if it was an intruder, they would have only wanted $118,000. $118,000. And another thing as well, you've got to look at it this way. If it, in fact, which I believe it was, John and Patsy, $118,000 is so much easier to hide, if that makes sense, like put in amongst things in your luggage and all that sort of shit. In having it divided up the way it was divided up, like, $100,000 in $100 bills and then $18,000 in $20 bills. That's easy to go around when you go back to Charlotte, where they're going to go spend like the next day. You can walk around with that kind of money because it has to be unmarked, right? Because if it's unmarked, guess what happens? They go spend it in another part of America. It's not going to be able to be traced, is it? So when they go on like their little spending sprees with Burke or whatever, they can give some of that money when they're back over in Charlotte. They can give some of that to their family. It's all unmarked. Very strange. So, who's still in here, by the way? Gotta love when eBay sends you notifications to make an offer on something, and then when you try to, they won't accept it because it's too low. It's like, well, why even give me the fucking option to make an offer then, you dickheads? Who's still in here? Because at the end of the day, I want to continue, but I don't if there's no one in here. There's not much I can talk about if there's nobody in here willing to let me know there's people still in here. Oh, okay, Aussie, sorry. It just makes me angry how they think that, they could have, excuse me, when people come out and go, they could have asked for millions. Do you know how hard it would have been to go around Atlanta spending $1 million in cash? $100,000. You think of $118,000. You think about it. That is so much easier than carrying around $1 million in cash. Excuse me. I just find it very, very weird. Hey, Aussie, put out the word that I'm live to people, can you? Sorry. But like I said, it comes down to that there are so many things wrong with this case. Like the police were adamant that the only reason that it couldn't have been an intruder is because, like I said, the cobweb was still intact on the only way they could have accessed it. Now, the funny thing is, though, is that this is the only thing I'll ever say in comparison to the Watts case and the Ramsey case. Both had locked doors. If you remember correctly, the bathroom was locked at Chris's house for over an hour while there were people moving around downstairs, moving around upstairs. There was a bathroom door that was locked for over an hour in the Watts home. The cop went downstairs into the cellar and said that this is where it's funny. He reckons that he went downstairs into the basement of John and Patsy Ramsey's home and said that he, not Fleet White, remember, Fleet White couldn't go downstairs and couldn't go into that particular room because even though he'd been down there plenty of other times, he could not find the light switch. That's pretty odd. You go down there a lot, but you can't, seriously now you can't find a fucking light switch. But a police officer went down there previously and said, and that guy goes, did you check everything? Oh, there was one room, but I couldn't go in there. Oh, why not? It was locked. So what is it with Colorado police not looking and going, there was a locked door in the Ramsey case, and then when that door got finally opened, instead of yelling out, whoever was upstairs, instead of coming up and going, John, follow that particular cop, or John seeing him walking towards there, if he was paying any attention at all, he was seeing that and go, oh, there's a room down there. But before we go down there, hey, you might need this key. Now, if that door was locked, how the hell did the intruder get out without anyone seeing him getting out of that little fucking great part that was like a drainage or whatever the hell it was, where they guessed that the intruder gained entry to the house? But if that door was locked, how did he gain entry? If that door was in fact, it makes you think, okay, so if that was the case, but yet why was it locked to start with? You know what I mean? Like, how is it that they gained access to the rest of the house to go get JonBenet, bring her downstairs, do what they did to her and unalived her? Where did that key go? You know what I mean? Like, if someone's walking, if I had a basement and someone was wanting to check out something in my basement and stuff, I wouldn't let them walk down the stairs and then go, oh, sorry, dude, here's the key, catch. No, I'm going to say, hey, you got to go check out my wine cellar. It's really cool. You do? Awesome. Okay, well, before you go down there, give me a sec. No, that's the dungeon key. That's the torture chamber key. Here you go. I would have given him the key. It's common fucking sense. Why did John or Patsy offer him, the police officer who went down there and came back up a few moments later and said the door's locked? Why did he go over to John and go, oh, excuse me, sir, while we're doing a thorough house inspection here, we're also not wearing gloves because we're fucking idiots. How come they didn't turn around and go to John and go, excuse me, sir, we need to gain access to one of the rooms downstairs, but it appears to be locked. Can we have a key? And you can't tell me that they did that, because if they had done that, they would have found JonBenet Ramsey sooner. It's interesting, like I said before, if you remember what I said before, when JonBenet was found, he was told not to touch anything. He was told to go from top to bottom to check if anything was missing or out of place. John Ramsey didn't do that. John Ramsey started from the bottom and was going to go from there to the top. Now, when Linda Arndt, or whatever her name is, was heard saying start from the top to the bottom. But remember, don't touch anything. Now, obviously, when you find your child injured or hurt or anything like that, the first thing you want to do is to make sure they're okay. I get that. But when you approached her and you saw that she wasn't moving, and as you've said in a few interviews, she was stiff, but yet you still thought it was your responsibility to remove that tape. And again, that tape he removed from JonBenet's mouth had cotton fibers that matched Patsy Ramsey's sweater she was wearing that night. Now, when JonBenet's, okay, trigger warning for the next part because it's a bit, and when I go, I mean a bit gruesome. Okay, I'll give you guys the count of 5 to actually figure out if you're going to stick around for this part. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, her hands were tied above her head, but you got to remember that something that's very, very strange, though, is that the rope wasn't on her bare skin with the ones that were with her wrists. They were on her the sleeve of her jumper. They weren't on the bare skin. The rope again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The rope that was found around her neck was actually so embedded into the skin around the neck is that they didn't even know she had rope there to start with, to begin with. But the thing that's very strange about that is the fact that that makes me sick to know that they did that to her. And then she ended up with a skull fracture so severe that if it didn't kill her instantly, then I don't get it. But because I believe it did, because when it hit her, she ended up, yeah. Look up pictures of her skull fracture. You'll be absolutely mortified. And I personally do not think, like, I don't like Burke. I think he's like a Heckle and Hyde kind of person. But I don't think that but when you see footage of her, she was hit with a hammer or something, and he's a kid, he's getting interviewed, and he shows how it would have been done. But there is no way in the world that he used enough force to cause that kind of skull fracture, in my opinion. Hey Eddie, how you doing? But like I said, I just find it very, 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 very odd that they were so, like, the police had to put it down to that like I said, it could have been an intruder. I'm not going to turn around and say I 100% believe it was the family. There's about a 95% chance I think it was John and Patsy and Burke all working together on that. And there's a 5% chance that it could have been an intruder. Now, this is what I was trying to say before. If that intruder, if that basement door was always locked, how did the intruder get out of the basement to gain entry to the rest of the house? If when Fleet White went down there on his own to start with, or the police officer went down there on his own, he couldn't gain entry to that room because the door was locked. But when the intruder came through, it wasn't locked. So you got to tell me that room, for whatever reason, it was locked, right? But if an intruder came through the house, how would that intruder have gotten out of that part of the basement to gain entry to the rest of it? Because when John was told to search from top to bottom, he went down there and he unlocked. How did Fleet White have a key to the basement? If he's claimed to it, when he went down there, he couldn't find the light switch to turn on the light, so that's why he didn't look further. So he must have had a key. When John was told to check from top to bottom and he went straight to the basement with Fleet White, he unlocked the door. Because the police officer, not the woman, but the guy that was there, was reported to say the door was locked. So how is it that when Fleet White went down there, he was able to access that room because he couldn't find a light switch? When John went down there, he unlocked it. So two people in that, well, probably Patsy as well, so we'll go with three. Three people would have had access to that particular room of the basement that the police officer never went to and said, can you come with me for a moment? There's a door downstairs I want to look behind, and I don't have a key. I've been informed by Patsy, John, or whatever, that you might have a key to that room. Can you please come with me and help me by unlocking it so I can search that room? Nothing like that was done. That part was a big kerfuffle where the Colorado police fucked up. Because anything... And, I don't get it. Fast forward, like I said, all these years later, this case has still not been solved. And countless people have been accused over time. Let's see if I can find that list of people who have actually... Hang on. Just give me a sec, guys. All right, here we go. Let's see if this works. All right, these are the people that have actually been... Okay, these are the immediate family. So that would have been Patsy, the mother, handwriting analysts linked her to the ransom note, but she maintained her innocence. John Ramsey, the father. Some experts suggested his involvement, but no concrete evidence. Burke Ramsey, the brother, investigated due to behavior issues and potential jealousy. So that's why they were investigated, not the fact that, we might as well say when he hit her with a golf, when Burke hit John Bonet with a golf club and stuff like that, then you might as well say that's part of the behavioural issues. Okay. Now this is what in the Meta Al thing you get on Messenger where you can just type in a question and it comes up with an answer. It's pretty cool. Now these are a few other. This is how they extended family or acquaintances. Now you got to remember these are other people that have been accused, but I don't understand how they can be considered acquaintances. I consider people that are like family that I don't see very often. I consider them acquaintances. I don't consider them family, but they're still connected to me. So I don't understand how these people could potentially be connected to the Ramseys, but we'll find out. I'm sorry if any of these names are a trigger warning to anybody who finds these names disturbing, but these are people that have been, like I said, extended family and acquaintances. John Mark he was a former teacher. He confessed in 2006, but the DNA that was found on JonBenet did not match him. Okay, then there's Michael Helgoth. That's Helgoth, sorry. So, yeah. Give me one sec. I'll read that. Hang on, sorry. All right, I just had to let my best friend know that I'm live, so then that way he doesn't continue to message me throughout the rest of it. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, I was saying who else is a suspect, so I've got to go back and find it. Yeah, so there was Michael Helgoth, family acquaintance, cleared due to lack of evidence. Then there's Bill McReynolds, former pastor, investigated but cleared. Chris Wolf, family friend, cleared due to alibi. Other suspects, intruder theory, unknown individual entered the home. Now, like I said, you got to remember those that when the police officer went down there to investigate in the beginning, he said he couldn't gain access to that particular room because it was locked. If it was locked, how the fuck did the intruder get into the rest of the house? Santa Claus, impersonator Michael Albritton. Okay, I'm going to spell this name out instead. Albritton. I can't pronounce that to save my life. Ruled out due to lack of evidence. Convicted P. Robert Cummings. Investigated but cleared. And then there's unknown male DNA match, still unidentified. Now, what makes me upset about this, though, is that when they say there's DNA that's unidentified, are you fucking kidding me? The amount of technology that is out there these days. Surely there are tests out there. You can do the genie DNA or whatever it is to find out what family is connected with this person. Then what you do is you find out. So, say, for example, you find out Joe Smith has this, and this connected to this person. Okay, then that's fine. You know what you do then is that you find out where all these people were on the 25th of December, 1996. Seriously. Then there's investigated Um, investigated individuals. Linda Hoffman Pay. Poo. Hoffman Pugh. I want to say poo, but that sounds disrespectful if I'm saying it wrong. That was Patsy's friend. Fleet. These are people that have been actually accused. All right. Now, this one is where I actually found it quite interesting. Is that there was Fleet White? That was a family friend. They were at Fleet White's house Christmas Day night for dinner. And that's the house that they sent Burke to the day after Christmas. They sent Burke there, but they're more than happy to point the finger and say it was Fleet, right? After they sent their son there. Funny that. John Andrew Ramsey, John's son from a previous marriage. Now, I don't know why he was accused, but we'll leave that one alone. Melinda Ramsey Long, John's daughter from a previous marriage. Those 4 there were investigated. All right. Okay, cleared suspects. Patsy Ramsey's family members, John Ramsey's business associates. Mind you, we never see any footage of these people getting interviewed. And neighbours and local residents. Now, there was all right. Now, this is 3 things that are unsolved leads. All right. There's unknown DNA on JonBenet's clothing. Well, then, you know what? With all the technology that is out there, it's funny. You see on YouTube, they have all these cases. Oh, cases solved in 2024 due to doing this kind of test and doing this kind of test. Okay, if that's the case, then why the fuck aren't you doing that with this sort of stuff? Unidentified fingerprints. Go old school. Check it that way. And then it says discrepancies in family alibis. How's that even fucking possible to have that? How can you have and clear the family, but then say there's discrepancies in their alibis? Help me understand that, because I sure as hell don't get it. It makes absolutely no sense. And if anyone can help me make sense of that, how you can clear a family, but then you say there's discrepancies in family alibis. I suspect that it was one of the family members, like I said, because of the fact that the police has been known to excuse me, like I said, Fleet White went down there, couldn't gain access or couldn't look around properly because he couldn't find the light switch. So he comes back upstairs. Now, the police officer couldn't gain entry to that room because the door was locked. But Mr. White could gain access to it because of the fact that he couldn't find the light switch, so he didn't look around. 2 things the thing that he goes, he couldn't find a light switch. The police officer found the light switch. Why couldn't you? The police officer had only been there, supposedly, that one time. He was able to find a light switch. Fleet White had been there numerous times, couldn't. Very strange. And then when John and Fleet go down together, they find the light switch and John unlocks the door. And instead of thinking, obviously I know Linda at this time was there on her own, which was absolutely disgusting within itself. There's a missing child, but only one police officer there. And instead of thinking to herself, at the time, I'm pretty sure she would have done it differently if she could, but obviously you can't go back into a time machine and change things. We do not have the Back to the Future features like that. But I'm sure if she could, she would have gotten everybody out of the house. But she didn't. She allowed people to continuously walk around and all that sort of shit. Walk from room to room, touching things, leaving touch DNA and all that crap, removing potential evidence of somebody else's DNA, and like, why not? It's just frustrating that this case still has no actual closure for people. It makes me very, very angry that there's no closure. Like, I think personally, the fact that when John was arrested, when Chris was arrested, he was put on a lie detector test prior to that. Yeah, Patsy and John and Burke, even Burke into that, was never put on a lie detector test. Chris was. They weren't. Now, I don't think it's like the fact that I could be wrong with this, so please forgive me if I'm arrogant for thinking this. If John Ramsey was put on a lie detector test and Patsy when she was alive, who here, out of the four of you in here, just think about that for a moment. If the three of them, were put on lie detector tests, would we still, myself included, would we still be thinking it was an intruder? Because I don't think it's right how, like I said, every time you think it was an intruder, you got to remember there were two people that could not gain entry because the door was locked. Because you think about it, the cop was the first person after a said intruder was down there, went down there and exited that room. If it was an intruder, why wasn't that why wasn't that key that the intruder would have used, why wasn't that found in the door keyhole? If it wasn't in fact an intruder. If it was an intruder, why didn't, you know what I mean? Like little things like that that I've picked up on over the years. The policeman went down there, like I said, okay, now. Yeah, I don't think it was him because he was sick, like terminally sick at that time, Aussie. And I read that out before. I personally do not think it was an intruder. Because, like I said, if it was an intruder, where was the key he used to get out of the basement? Because John takes the key he uses to gain entry to the basement, he takes that key out of his pocket. So, if that's the case, where did the intruder, like, I seriously doubt the intruder would have taken the key with them, because if they were ever a suspect, they would have said, "That's okay, Ozzy, don't need to be sorry." He would have taken that key, and if he was ever caught as a suspect, he would have gone, "Oh, okay, what's this key for?" And then he would have, you think about it, you got me personally, I've got more keyrings than I have keys on my thing. I've got a wooden pecker. When I say a pecker, I mean we'll just leave that alone. I've got about half a dozen keyrings my brother has gotten me. And I also, thanks to Aussie True Crime, I have Aussie True Crime's keyring on my on my keychain. Now, keep in mind, guys, I only have 3 keys, but I've got about 5, 6, about 8 keyrings. So I have a habit of that. I like keyrings and I collect keyrings and all that sort of shit. But the thing is that's really bad about it, though, is the fact that, I don't have enough keyrings. I would like to one day get a keyring with my little logo on it, but not wasting my time at the moment with that. I can't afford, or not. It's not wasting my money, but it's just that I can't afford to do it at the moment. Timu do them, but the person I want to do them for me, I have to wait till I have money because I want to get a bunch of stuff with my logo on them. And so fingers crossed I'll be able to get some of those. But yeah, I have a habit of collecting keyrings. It's weird because I have one that's like I said, okay, fine, I've gone live now for over an hour. I can say what it is. It's a little wooden penis, and it's brown and it's really cute. And it's like a little baby cucumber, but it's not. It's not shaped like a cucumber. But the thing that's really funny about that, not funny haha, but funny disturbing, is that when I have that sitting, because anytime I get in an Uber or a Didi or ride share of some sort, I always have my keys in my hand. So that way, if the driver turns out to be a skis, I've always got, and I try not to have my house key in my hand because why would I do that? So that way, if anyone tries to hurt me when I'm in the car, I can just like jab them with the keys. It's all good. But as I was saying, when I'm having that little wooden penis next to me, it's I know you can Aussie, but I'll see how we go, Dale. I've got to wait till I've got money to pay you. And that's why I'm saying I don't want to go through Temu. I want you, a dear friend of mine to do them. See, Aussie's amazing, guys. Please remember to subscribe. Subscribe to her channel. Please drop your link, Miss Aussie. But like I said, it comes down to that they look at me and then they look at my keyrings, and that one's always out on display, like it's really great. And it's really disturbing when they look at me strange. They're like, I'm like, oh, it was a gag gift. I won it. And I didn't win it. I bought it because I thought it was cool. And I'm very, very strange like that. I have a very strange sense of humor. But anyway, back to the jonbenet case. I have my mum's key and I have my brother's key and I have my key. I don't have a key for anything else. So I have, like I said, half a dozen keyrings with only three keys. How is it that, for me personally, one of my questions to John and Patsy would have been at one stage, how many people have access to your house? And they say a few people had a few keys to the house, yes. But how many of them, thank you, Aussie. Please, if you're in here and you're not subscribed to Aussie True Crimes channel, please do. She is amazing. She will be doing a few future lives upcoming. She's just recently moved state, so she's got to make sure everything is set up the way to perfection, the way she likes it, before she will actually do that. But she has a new intro out there, so please check that out and leave a comment with your feedback on that. And if you're going to be an arsehole with feedback, don't bother. Just move on. Don't leave any nasty comments because I'm part of her mod team and I will remove your comment. And then every time after that, if you're going to be rude, it's easy. I'm very protective of my family that I've created here on YouTube. Oh. Well, then you need to go back and tell them, though, sweetie. I want another key. But like I was saying, you can't, they said that everyone had access to the house. But does that mean they had access, like the Whites had a key to their house, the Fleet was his first name, I'm going, the Whites, the housekeeper, and who knows who else. But what I'm saying is, how many keys did that link them to having? Because if Fleet White, like I said, you just got to look at how many people had access to individual rooms. Like I said, like the side doors, the front door, the back door, the basement door, the wine cellar door. That's 5 keys just there. Does that mean that whoever had access to the front door had also access to all of those other ones? So I don't actually know. Excuse me. It makes me very, very weary of like when they say, oh, there was a few people that had spare keys. What keys did they have, John? Did the cops ask them that? Oh, hell fucking no. They just want to know who had access to their house. The fact that they were going away for a week or two over Christmas But yet John went out I don't know how Colorado postage works. I don't. But it was Christmas. It was the day after Christmas. Would have been a public holiday. Why is he out there checking the letterbox? And yeah, why was he out checking the letterbox? If someone can help me understand that, when they would have had someone collecting their mail, did John Ramsey know in advance by going out to the letterbox there were going to be people thinking, hang on a second, he's going away for a few days. Don't you have the letterbox in the door though? So he wouldn't have, why was he outside checking the letterbox that way? When they have the opening, I think from memory, where the letters can be slipped through the door with the letterbox in the door itself. I just find it very, very strange, like and the thing that's really weird as well, that makes me think it was one of them, is because of the fact that they took JonBenet's dog to one of the neighbours' house because they were leaving early the next morning to go on a flight. But yet John didn't do anything about the mail side of thing, like getting deliveries of letters and all of that kind of shit. There was nothing about that. You know what I mean? Like there was no one there to collect the mail, so it didn't stack up, who knows. But yeah, he was seen going through the letters. Like him and Patsy were distant from each other most of that time, like most of that morning when the police officer or the priest walks in, she's crying, but she's just like spreading her fingers over her eyes so she can see what's going on. Wouldn't you be just trying to focus on the fact that you're crying, not giving a shit that people are watching you or looking at you and saying, oh, I'm so sorry, Patsy. And the thing is, though, is the fact that when JonBenet was brought upstairs, she was laid on the ground and bloody Patsy covered her with her body. How was that allowed to happen? Like the cotton fibers that were found on JonBenet's body matched the ones that matched the piece of tape that was taken off, which I think it was ripped off, taken off JonBenet Ramsey's mouth. There was cotton fibers found inside that tape that was plastic, like put over her mouth. They matched the cotton fibers that transferred from Patsy's jumper when she laid down on top of JonBenet when she was brought upstairs after her body was found. Whether that's true or not, again, we don't know. It's like there are so many inconsistencies in this case. Now, the thing that stands out more than anything, though, as of late for me, is the fact that throughout his interview with Dr. Phil, Burke Ramsey was smiling the whole time. Now, I find it disturbing that he was doing that. That might be in Dr. Phil's words and not necessarily I quote his words, but he was saying about how if someone suffers from autism, they're likely to smile at awkward situations and stuff like that. I get that. But throughout the whole fucking thing and not even getting a tiny little bit emotional, come on. I've come across a lot of people here who have autistic children, and I have myself an autistic nephew or nephews. I'm not actually sure. I haven't seen them in years. My point being is that they know how to get emotional. They can show emotion. Like if something's up, like I remember when my eldest nephew used to get upset and stuff like that. He would actually get upset. You know what I mean? He wouldn't just be there smiling his face off about something. Like when one of his pet fish died, he was so distraught and so upset about it. Even though I got him a fish exactly the same and everything like that, he knew it wasn't the same fish, but still. What do you call it? He was generally upset. Burke didn't show one bit of emotion. And if you look closely, when in the beginning of the interviews, at the time when Patsy and John were both being interviewed together, John had this habit where he would constantly stick out his tongue when he would talk. As years and years and years went on and the lies got easier and easier because the moment, not the very moment, but around the time when Patsy passed away. All right. For those who don't know, she passed away of ovarian cancer in, I think, 2006. Again, I'm not 100%, so forgive me for that if I'm wrong. When Patsy was alive, when John would talk, it would always stick out his tongue like he was a lizard or a snake of some sort. And then after Patsy died, he stopped doing that. Have anyone else noticed that, or is that just me? Excuse me for a sec. But like I said, I just find it very, very odd. Excuse me. Certain things that, like I said, certain things that John, my throat's killing me. Certain things that John would do that after Patsy passed away, he wouldn't do. And I find that very, very, very odd. I'm sorry if I'm arrogant. I'm sorry if people are going to disagree with me. But that's very odd to have a certain feature that you do when your wife's alive. And also the funny thing is those that when Patsy's talking about there's two people that know, and she's waving her hand, two fingers back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between her and John, like pointing to John, pointing to her, and doing the peace thing. Now, I'm going to say this now. SBTC. I do not remember the creator that said this, but they're saying that the SBT stands for she's by the cellar. Lots of people think it's saved Burke, third child, saved by the cross, something to do with the army, and all these kinds of things. There are a lot of different theories of what SBTC could stand for. And the army term it could stand for is where John was enlisted. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to continue this at a later date. If you like, excuse me. Hurry up, Wednesday. If you do like what you heard today, feel free to donate to my PayPal. There's no, you have to do it. You have to do it. It's if you can. And just remember, it is the season of giving. So please feel free. I don't know when I'll go live next. I do want to continue discussing this, but my throat is really starting to hurt. And I would actually like to have a voice by the end of the day if I can stretch my voice that far. But yeah, just think about things I was saying. How is it that the cop went down there, couldn't gain entry to the basement because it was locked, but yet they say the intruder entered the house through the basement? How would the intruder to know that Patsy or John were going to use those particular stairs that day? How is it that when it came to the ransom note, they said, we're going to call you between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. tomorrow, meaning the 27th, not the 26th. But yet nobody realizes that. Why was Patsy's cotton fibers from the jumper she was wearing the night before and the next day, why did they match inside the tape that was on jonbenet's mouth? Okay, so the only way it could have been an intruder is if the intruder had a key to the basement. That is the only way. If in fact the police officer was telling the truth that he went down to the basement, couldn't gain entry because it was locked. Anyway, think about those things before I go live next. I'm not sure if I would be doing a live again this year or at all, because the fact that there are so many times that I do a live and 99% of the time I do get judged for it. And I was listening to one of my previous lives where I said that bullying on YouTube and social media in general needs to stop. I still stand by that. Don't judge me. I've survived quite a lot of channel creators out there. I've survived them all because they've been cancelled, or as they say, terminated, or they've decided to go on to a different platform because of the fact that they think that going on to a bigger, wider platform is going to stop them getting bullied. So, they go to TikTok or they go to Rumble, Tumble, whatever the fuck it's called. They go to other streaming services. Me, on the other hand, I'm staying for as long as I can here on YouTube, and I just hope that it's going to be of a benefit next year. I am, again, trying to raise money to get a fan that actually blows out cold air and not that shitty fucking crap this one does. But yeah, please feel free to donate to my PayPal. I really, really, really would appreciate it. I've been told by quite a few people that it is going to be a very, very hot summer, which I am dreading. And I don't have air conditioning still, guys. So if you do want to donate to help me get either a nice portable air conditioner or a pedestal velocity fan, please feel free to. And just remember, if you know of anybody who doesn't know what to do with all their money that they've got, tell them about my account and tell them I'm struggling and all that shit. Because like I said, I desperately do need to get some more velocity fans, guys, because this unit that I'm in gets very, very, very hot. And unfortunately, I have an electric stove. So therefore, when I cook and then turn off the hot plate, the heat lingers. Oh, and I do have some news to share with everybody. I'm not sure of the date yet, but either the 18th of next month, I could potentially be 18th of next month or the 12th of February, I could potentially be having my corneal transplant in my left eye. So all being well that goes well, I'm going to need you guys to help me as well get a few, raise money so I could give it to somebody to make me a bunch of meals so that way when I do get out of hospital or prior to getting out of hospital, I have meals to be able to consume without having, because I'm not allowed to do any kind of strenuous activity after a corneal transplant. So if you want to help out there, please, if you're going to donate, do that, but put in brackets what it's for when you donate. So please, please feel free to do that. And until next time, be kind. Be generous to people you can be generous to. Don't let anybody tell you can't do something, because the more they say you can't, let that be your driving force to do it. Like there are things in my life that I've done that I never thought in a million years I would ever be successful in doing. And look at me now. I have a YouTube channel. Yay! And you can too, just know that. Don't ever sell yourself short. Because there are enough haters in this world to do that for you without you having to do it to yourself. Don't let others, and I've said this to my brother countless times. Don't allow other people's opinions of what they think of them or you to become yours. Like if you've got people out there that think that I suck, but you like me and like my channel, then you know what? Don't allow their opinion to become your opinion. If you want to donate to me and your friends go, oh, no, don't do that. It's your fucking money. Do what you want to do with it. If you don't want to donate, don't donate because that's what your choice is. Okay? If you want to donate to a charity of any kind and your partner or your friends think you're stupid for doing it, they're stupid for not doing it, not you. Anyway, guys, I don't want to lose my voice before Wednesday because I'm hoping that it all goes well. And I'm seeing my brother. But anyway, all of you take care of yourself. Take care of the ones you love. Be good. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. And I'm going to try and do the same. But until next time, I don't know when that will be. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.